the playing of our national anthem by the Sandy Valley Local Schools Marching Band. Welcome in, everyone. High school football with Stark Media as we welcome you into the campus of Sandy Valley Schools as they get ready to host the Cardinals do the Canton South Wildcats. Coach Brian Gamble leading his Cardinals team into this ball game 2-0 after victories over Fairless and Manchester. And for Coach Matt Dennison and the Canton South Wildcats, they get here by way of victory over St. Clairsville in week 1 and Dover 50-40 last week. And Mark, I'll tell you what, the tale of this tape, as I welcome in the one they call Mark Milano, the master of fishermen and fisheries around the nation. Mark, when you start to think about these quarterbacks, and I know Nick Petro doesn't get advertised as much as Poochie Schneider, but how impressed have you been seeing the growth of this young man wearing number 19 for the Wildcats over the last 3 years as he's just grown into one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen come out of Stark County?
You know, the first time I had seen Poochie play was against when we were together against West Branch in the playoffs, and he was a freshman. And I thought, you know, this kid's really got it together. I mean, he was very poised. He's worked really hard. Matt Trissel, who was an outstanding quarterback down at South, had worked with him a ton. And he's here right now, and I'll tell you what, the sky's the limit for him. I mean, you know, I know he has an offer, and he's supposed to go to Sacred Heart over in Connecticut, but Army came in, and they've offered TJ. I think there's going to be some other offers coming his way.
I can't see how there wouldn't be. You know, when you think about most people that will say the measurables is where it's at, that he's not tall enough to play quarterback at the Division I level. Well, I've seen plenty of guys that they said weren't tall enough to play quarterback at the Division I level that were pretty successful at it.
Right.
So, I mean, really, the things you can't measure, right? The heart, just the natural instincts. And when you can zip a ball across the middle, zip it out across from one hash all the way over to the other sideline, and then chuck it 60, 70 yards in the air downfield, that's a dynamic quarterback.
He's really accurate, and the other thing is that I don't know. There's a lot of people out there that know this. He runs a 4.40. 40. So he's going to beat you with his arm and his legs. He's extremely accurate. He's really smart. He's very humble. I had a chance. I caught up with him for a few minutes before the game. I said, Poochie, do you remember me? And he goes, yeah, I do.
How could he forget you?
Well, and I told him, I said, you know, I keep pushing for you to be Stark County Player of the Year. I said, I think that you had the numbers last year to be there, and maybe this is going to be his year to do it. And I'll tell you what, if he breaks all the passing records in Stark County, it's going to be hard not to give him that award.
We see some of our officials coming out onto the field. We'll make mention of them here as we get ready to bring you Canton South and Sandy Valley. All right, your referee will be Tom Tillman. Your umpire will be Chris Schubert. Your linesman will be Garrett Barnhart. Your line judge is Janice Workland. And your back judge is Bryce Davis. Now, Mark Milano, I know that you've been around a lot of officiating crews working down on the sidelines in the past. Do you know anything about this crew or where they come from?
I do not know this crew. I didn't have an opportunity to talk to them, but surprisingly enough, Sandy Valley won the playoff, TJ, and they deferred. And I'm thinking with this South offense, I'm thinking you're going to want as many possessions as you can get. But they decided they weren't going to do it. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out for them. But right now, down on the field, it's every bit of 76 degrees. I think when that sun starts to set, we're going to be down in the 60s. It's going to be a whole lot different, and cramping could be an issue tonight.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, you haven't seen it as much in the first couple weeks as we typically do, but, you know, you can always set your clock to it. By week 1, week 2, as guys are just getting underway, getting out of training camp, it's still very warm around here, even though we've had an awkward kind of summer, late spring
fall
kind
was
of
here
transition.
yesterday. Yeah.
You know, for me, it's like we haven't seen as much of the cramping the first few weeks, but tonight, out of any, could be a potential because it is very warm out there.
Yeah, you know, and South won this game last year 56-30. So there's no question that scoreboard, they may have to put a few extra bulbs in it tonight because it's going to get lit up for sure.
They will light it up here tonight on the campus of Sandy Valley Schools. I want to give a special shout out to Garth Evans, athletic director, Superintendent Dave Fisher, who always takes care of us, Allison Morris, who handles all the PR duties for Sandy Valley, the Cardinals. She takes care of them on social media, giving us a great setup here as we're spotted up on the 45-yard line on the home side press box. And Mark, when you start to think about this Sandy Valley coaching staff, that's kind of a neat deal for me too, because I look down here to the other end of the press box and see one of my former coaches, Fred Thomas, from my Glen Oak days. He's coached so many years and taught so many young men the game of football from the collegiate level down to the high school level. You know, but to see the father-son relation here between Coach Brian and his dad Frank, and then you look at Ben and you look at his dad Fred. That's a pretty interesting dynamic when you look at a coaching staff, right? You've been around a lot of football. Have you seen staffs like that?
Yeah, and I can tell you how special it is to be able to be there with your son when they're in that position to be a coach and or a head coach. You know, being with my son Matt as the head coach up at Wadsworth for their lacrosse program. It's really pretty cool, but I'll tell you what, TJ, it's a dynamic that's kind of hard to try to get my arms around because now I'm reporting to him as opposed to him reporting to me.
Well, that always does, and if it doesn't affect your paycheck, then I guess you should be all right.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for that paycheck from him.
Oh, Matt Milano, Matty Ice, he's waiting. All right, Mark, I guess now you start to look when you break down what is going to be in resistance here for Canton South and Poochie Schneider. And talking to Brian Gamble down there on the field, he really kind of leaned his hand towards Trenton Russell, a guy that's 6'2", 210. And it was interesting last night, if you didn't get a chance to see, the Walsh Cavaliers got an opening Division II college football weekend home victory right there in your stomping grounds, North Canton. They got a 24-21 victory over West Liberty. And we talked on the broadcast a lot about organic pass rushing, right? So we know that Sandy Valley is going to have to throw some things at Poochie Schneider to see if you can keep that offensive line off balance, so to say. But when you look at just trying to beat an offensive tackle, Trenton Russell is a guy up front for the Cardinal defense that really could get that done.
Yeah, he can, and I'll tell you, I think that the level of competition to this point that Canton South has seen has been better than what Sandy Valley has seen for sure. You look at the fact, TJ, we talked about this. I mean, Canton South scored 90 points in 2 games. They also gave up 82 points in 2 games. So they're going to have to find a way to make sure that they tackle people in space because I'll tell you, Nick Petro can run too. And I'm pretty sure that Nick Petro, not only is he their starting quarterback, but I believe he's their leading rusher too.
Yeah, and also when you mix in guys like Luke Gilland, who was an All-Ohio receiver, Chad Davis, those are the weapons around him. But I think the area of concern mostly for as the Canton South Wildcats under Coach Matt Dennison have now taken the field down here in Magnolia is Sandy Valley. The Cardinals welcome in the South Wildcats. I think, as you mentioned there, up front for the Sandy Valley Cardinals, Coach Gamble kind of felt, I'm very, very confident in my guard my tackle Andrew Neary, but the guards, they may not have seen a three-tech and a nose guard quite like what South has to show them. They didn't see it last week when they put a running clock on Manchester in the first half.
Right, and Coach Gamble said our offensive line's healthy. I think this is the first time they've had everybody together there, and that makes a huge difference for them. But when you're schools of this size, I think your starters are all pretty good. It's that difference between 1 and 2. And so when one goes down, what comes in behind him? Tonight's not one of those nights that these teams can afford to lose anybody.
Well, we'll give you those starters after I give you the captains here. Your captains for the Sandy Valley Cardinals, Nick Petro, Chad Davis, Troy Schneider, Cohen Mace, and Andrew Neary. Your captains for the South Wildcats, Poochie Schneider, Tavon Castle, and Max Cochran. Max Cochran, 6'4", 290 pounds. I know that's always kind of been the deal with South, trying to mix in enough big guys that are kind of filled out in the legs and kind of handle business. That's got to be a comfort for Mr. Poochie Schneider as he's sitting there in the pocket wanting to look downfield, to know that you've got a guy that's 6'4", 290 protecting your backside. That's also a big benefit as well.
Well, you know what? And his legs and his ability to move back there makes things a whole lot easier for those offensive linemen. They know if somebody gets through, they're not necessarily going to give up a sack because of his speed. And those defenses have to make sure that if they do break that line of scrimmage, that they have to make sure that they keep contained on the corners. If they don't, he's going to go around the edge, and he can take it to the house.
So when you look at some of the stats, Mark, and we kind of think about the run game for Canton South, you and I both know that the deal in football, it's not really rocket science, right, as a partner? The run opens up the pass opens up the run. What do we know? Because all of the acclaim seems to be on the quarterback, Poochie Schneider. What do we know about the running game for South?
Well, I tell you, Zion Culver is an awfully good running back. His first start that he had last year, he scored 6 touchdowns in that first game that he had, and he's only gotten better, and he's only a sophomore. This kid can definitely run the football. I think that when you You know they're going to have to defend that pass. They're going to spread things out. And when they do that, that's going to open up some of those lanes, allow him to run between the tackles, and he's got some wheels too.
Well, Mark, the Sandy Valley Cardinals, they're on the field. South Wildcats, they're on the field. Or South Wildcats, Sandy Valley Cardinals, both on the field. Mark, you told us about the coin toss. We know that South will return. They will get the ball, and you kind of mentioned that that's really not how you would have expected things to go.
Yeah, what would you have done, Coach? Give me the ball, right?
Exactly. All right, we'll get your starting lineups for you after this play. High school football with Start Media presented by Hilscher Clark Electric Company and the Eagles FOE 190. Want to make special mention of the Cleveland Browns as they've gotten behind. This is their game of the week here in Northeast Ohio, so a special deal as we get ready to kick off week 3 of the Ohio high school football season on a beautiful setting here tonight on the campus of Sandy Valley Schools. Mark, early predictions here as you think about that score from last year. Is it going to be another one of those shootouts? Is it going to be who's got the ball last, or is it going to be can Sandy Valley get that exclusive stop against Poochie Schneider?
I like South in this game, and I think that we're going to be looking at a score very similar to what we had last year.
All right, here we go. Ball is loose, and it's hitting at the 20-yard line out of bounds. Oop, check that. Looks like Canton South. The return man, number 22, Trey Wilson, could have let that ball go out of bounds, Mark. He steps out of bounds at the 13-yard line as he fielded it, so not a wise move there as Poochie Schneider is going to come out to start backed up to his end zone.
That was a tough decision for him to make because the way that ball was moving, it didn't look like it was necessarily going to go out of bounds, and he needed to do something with it, so better safe than sorry.
All right, starting across the defensive line for the Cardinals, Chapin Greer, Weston Little, Andrew Neary, and Trenton Russell. Your linebackers are Chad Davis, Jack Murphy, Luke Williams. We'll get your secondary after this play. Schneider, he'll be in the shotgun. Going left to right on your radio dial, he'll send a receiver, single receiver, short side right, over to the left where there's 3. Now he's going to hand off to Culver. He's going to follow center and left guard, and he'll fall forward for a nice 4-yard gain.
TJ, one thing for sure that with South having the ball here, if they're going to run anything to the far side of the field, that sun is going to be in that receiver's eyes. I wouldn't be surprised to see them making a lot of their passes over here to the press box side. And what do? A team that, throws the ball so much, they come out and they run it on the first play and picked up some nice yardage.
So more than a 4-yard clip, they'll give 6 to Culver, setting up a 2nd and 4. That secondary for the Cardinals, Jason Morris, Drew Graybill, Troy Schneider, and Anthony Ross. Blitz coming off the edge as they hand off to Culver again, and he picks up enough for a first down, crossing the line to gain at the 23, making the 24, and making it a 1st and 10 for the Wildcat offense.
And talking to Coach Dennison before the game, too, he said, hey, we can run the football as well. So if they see these guys lining up and it looks like that they're going to come after the quarterback, they're going to keep handing it off. And at this point, they don't have to worry about putting the ball up in the air.
We'll get the starting South Wildcats on offense for you after this play. Twins right, twins left. Culver stays in to pass protect. Poochie Schneider's looking downfield. He'll be harassed, and he's wrapped around the waist, trying to get out, and finally taken down to the ground by the defense. Number 10, Chapin Greer, 6'1", 175-pound senior. And boy, did I hype up young Trenton Russell before the broadcast in regards to the pass rush, and there it is, Greer getting there first.
Great pass rush, but the other thing is that how about the secondary? I mean, that's what led to that. There was nobody for Poochie to get the football to.
So across that offensive line, we'll get it for you after this play. Schneider, handoff to Culver. He goes between left guard and left tackle. Not much cooking there, Mark. After the sack, which lost 3 yards, they'll gain a yard back, so you'll have a 2nd and 11 coming up. Mark across the offensive line. Left tackle Clark, left guard Spear. Aiden Gear is your center. We talked about Max Cochran being the stud right tackle at 290 pounds, and then Meyer is your right guard. Again, we've seen thus far they've given up a sack. They haven't advanced the ball much. We'll see what they do here on 2nd and 11. Pass across the middle. Big shot from number 11, Troy Schneider, as that ball was caught by the Wildcats. Number 1 on the reception, Tyler Pugh. And boy, when he turned, Mark, he got stuck, and that's going to bring up a 4th down.
That was a great call with the blitzes that they had that were coming. If he could have broken that tackle, he'd have been going for a while there. But, you know, hats off to this Sandy Valley defense right here. That was a great stand that they just had.
So for all of the points, over 100 of them that Pucci and company have scored over the first 2 games, good stop as Pucci Schneider gets ready to punt the ball away. 9:21 on the clock here in the first quarter. 4th and 5 from their own 29. Schneider lets it rip. Goes off his foot, end over end. We'll see if they field it. No, they don't. Sandy Valley and number 17, Lucas Gillen, will allow it to roll down to the 21. And one of those, partner, where I think you could have maybe grabbed it at the 30 and saved yourself an extra 7 to 10 yards. But nonetheless, Nick Petro and company are going to come out here and see if they can't answer after the defense got them that stop. Maybe that's the exclusive stop we were looking for. Maybe that's why the coin toss and the decision went the way that it did.
Right now, it was a great decision that they had made there. But here's a statistic for you. Since Pucci has started his freshman year, they've scored 20 or more points in every game except 2, and that was in his freshman year. That's impressive.
That is definitely impressive. We'll get your starters offensively for the Sandy Valley Cardinals after this play. 9:06 on the clock. Handoff for the Cardinals. Nothing going. Number 26 on the defense. Achilles Buckridge in there first. And as we look at the offense for the Cardinals, led by Nick Petro, your running back Chad Davis. We talked about Greer on defense, doing it as wide receiver as well, alongside Jason Morris and Troy Schneider and Gillen. We'll get your offensive line after this play. Petro going to roll out to the right, finds his receiver, number 17, Schneider, out across the 30, and he'll be just shy, I believe, Mark, of the first down marker, which is set, we'll call it the 32. We'll see if they decide to wave it forward. Official sizing it up right now. They do. They wave it forward, 1st and 10, Cardinals.
Nice pitch and catch there. Nice pass that he made to him. Picked up a couple of yards after the reception. That was a great play for Sandy Valley to run. Very safe play down there close to their end zone.
Andrew Neary, Russell Hummel, Jake Gillen, Trenton Russell, and Weston Little are your offensive linemen. They're going to run Petro behind them, and there he goes, busting out across the 40-yard line, making it for a 1st and 10 chain mover for the Cardinal offense. And again, they continue to roll downhill, and it looked as if though Petro was going to be stopped in the backfield, Mark, but that long, rangy body and those legs, they just kept turning over. He's able to plow through there and pick up 11 yards.
He's wiry, and one thing for sure, you look at the South defense, they do not tackle well, and there was living proof of it right there.
So Petro, he's going to fire a quick little bubble screen to number 11, Gillen. No, Troy Schneider, apologize. Gillen in on the previous
it's a
reception.
fumble.
Ball's loose on the ground. We'll see who comes up with it. And they're going to say South ball.
Looked like Rome Cox may have recovered that one for the Wildcats.
So number 9 coming up off the bottom of the pile. And boy, that's going to be one that's going to really kind of rub Coach Gamble wrong, because you really, once you get things going and you got that stop there on the first possession for South, now you give them the ball back, and this is almost like a free possession for Pucci Schneider. So he sits there already in Cardinal territory, firing a rope out to number 14, his receiver, A.J. Pearson, and he's going to get a 1st and 10 chain mover as they advance it all the way down to the Cardinal 33-yard line.
Sandy Valley defense they've got their hands full down here right now.
You just, as a defense, you hope that turnovers aren't going to affect you as you get that good drive going for the Cardinals. They give the ball back to Schneider, and you can just tell he's looking to take advantage of it. Handoff to Culver. He looks to go over top of his big left tackle, Cochran. He gets pushed back, and Zion Culver is going to get tackled. They'll say for, trying to check the sticks over there, looks like a 1-yard loss. So great job by that defensive line up front, led by number 75, Weston Little, on that charge.
They absolutely blew up that offensive line on that play.
Trips right, single receiver to the short side left for Schneider. He's looking right. He's going to fire it across the middle. He's got his receiver, number 3, Castle. It goes in and out of his hands. Almost an interception attempt for Chad Davis, but he was going for the actual receiver, Castle. Looked like Castle was going to be able to haul that one in. And, Mark, he's one of those guys returning from last year that's been a part of Pucci as he's kind of grown as a quarterback. A lot of receptions have gone to number 3.
They've been together the entire time they've been at Canton South. They have a connection between the two of them. Really shocked that he dropped that pass.
Scoreless ball game here, 7:08 on the clock in the first quarter. TJ Downing, Mark Milano, happy to be a part of your Friday evening, week 3 of Ohio High School football. And on 3rd and 11, the defense for Sandy Valley coming up again. Weston Little off the bottom of the pile. Design quarterback run. They're going to take down Pucci Schneider and set up a 4th and 12.
See, I think the Wildcats are going to go for it here, and they're not going to be able to kick a field goal from this distance. Too close for a punt. So let's see if they get Pucci out on the edge, TJ.
So total defensive effort right there on that 3rd down, and they're going to need it again here on 4th down. As 6:37 on the clock rolls, Schneider, he's going to fake right. He's going to lob it up to his receiver, and it looks like he got his toes in bounds. He does. And look who making up for that drop ball a few plays ago, Tavon Castle.
You know, and that's what you want to do to a guy that just dropped the pass. You want to show him that you still have that confidence in him, and so he went right back to him. Great route, great throw and catch.
And how about finding his feet? Just 14 yards and the line to gain at 12. I mean, that is a quarterback wide receiver combination right there that knows what they're doing, because a lot of guys would not have the wherewithal to know exactly what line you need to get to. Tavon doing a great job right there, setting up a 1st and 10 now from the Cardinal 22-yard line. Pucci Schneider is going to take off. Now he's going to fire it out to Culver, wide left to the 20, makes it to the 15. He'll get inside down to the 12-yard line. I think they'll give him the 11. They do. They'll wave it forward, and it'll be another 1st down. Boy, Pucci Schneider, you could kind of tell he was under duress, and he kind of lobbed that thing up. When you're Pucci Schneider, you don't really say a prayer when you lob that thing up, but he knew where his outlet was. It was a tough pass to get it over there. Nobody waiting for Zion Culver.
Well, as a freshman, I don't think he'd have gotten that off. I mean, he's
No.
so much stronger than he is right now. A guy had him wrapped up, and he was still able to get that pass off.
Pucci fires it out to his receiver, makes a move at the 5, looking for the goal line, stretching. He won't make it. They'll say if it's inside the 1, it's a 1st down and it's goal to go. I think they're going to say he got right to the stick, so they'll call it dead at the 2. If they advance past the 2, they will get a fresh set. So they're going to be 2nd and 1 from the 2, 5:32 on the clock. 2nd possession of the ball game for the South Wildcats. Scoreless ball game here on the campus of Sandy Valley Schools. That was Trey Wilson on that previous reception. And a timeout on the field by Canton South. While we have a chance, we'll take a timeout here and talk about some of our great partners at Stark Media. It starts with our friends at the Eagles FOE 190 and Hilsher Clark Electric Company. Make sure if you're in downtown Massillon, check out the Eagles FOE 190 at 303 Wyrick Boulevard. And also call them at 833-8444. Sign up, become part of a fraternity that donates over $100,000 a year to local charities. Check out some of those charities and those scholarship funds like the Jimmy Kiefer Scholarship Fund at eagles190.com. And make sure our good friends at Hilsher Clark Electric Company, who sponsor our Hilsher Clark Electric Player of the Game, which Mark and I will have at the conclusion of the 4th quarter. Check them out at hilsher-clark.com. That's CLARKE.com. Locations throughout Ohio. You can call them at 330-879-8738. For anybody looking to get into the electric trades, they are always hiring. 5:21 on the clock here, 2nd and 1 from the Cardinal 2-yard line as they get this thing ready to go. Pucci Schneider goes under center. And the officials will call it dead.
I don't see a flag down there, TJ.
So I think some confusion between the officials making sure that they had everything properly ready to go. I don't know if maybe confusion between play clock and game clock. You see some of that signaling going on down there. So now the play clock starts rolling. Game clock will stay stopped at 5:21. Schneider, working from his left hash, will go under center, turn around, handoff, giving it to Culver as he falls forward to the 1-yard line. So that'll bring up
a fresh set of downs.
First down, goal to go.
I don't know, TJ. If I'm Canton South, I think I go right up the middle behind number 72. It never fails to go behind a 72, does it?
It doesn't. And, 77, I was nowhere near 290 pounds when I played. So If I'm Poochie Schneider, I'm turning, I'm looking right, and there you go, 77. Follow him into the end zone, and touchdown, Wildcats. So after the fumble at midfield by the Cardinals, Poochie Schneider makes you feel it as he drives his team down, picking up a 4th down. And that is what will cost you there when you talk about turnovers, Mark. Those are the things coaches look back on. You know, we talked about the whole setup of give them the ball first, get a defensive stop, get the ball back, make a drive, and you fumble. That one's going to really, really bother you if you're the Sandy Valley Cardinal.
You know, you made the mistake of the turnover, and then you have to hope that you don't give up a touchdown from it, and they did both of those things. So right now, South has to hold serve. But right now, Sandy Valley needs to put a drive together, and they need to do something. They can't give this ball back to Canton South and go 3 and out.
Extra point is good, makes it 7-0 with 4:59 on the clock in the first quarter. Mark, when you look at some other games around the area, and Week 3 is really going to kind of finalize what is our out of conference, so to say.
Yeah.
You know, but and we start league play next week. What are some games that are kind of sticking out to you around the area tonight?
I think that Dublin-Kaufman and McKinley is going to be interesting. Stowe and Jackson, we're going to see if Jackson has any letdown from that big win that they had over Mayfield. Louisville has a chance to win another football game tonight. Northwest coming into town with the coach that used to be the head coach over at Louisville. John DeMarco is going to be back over there. And I still think they made a mistake in getting rid of John DeMarco in Louisville. But I'll tell you what, Kappas is a great coach. They've got a diamond in the rough over in Louisville.
Oh, without a doubt. I think they're going to be happy with the way that pans out, just kind of getting everybody going in the right direction. And again, Coach Brian Gamble will try and get the Cardinals going back in the right direction after that fumble. Number 33 out there, Landon White to kick. He was your guy on the extra point and almost had some – looked like there were some issues there early. I don't know if he was meaning to kick it over there, almost like a, I guess, no pun intended, a pooch.
Well, you know,
Poochie's team pops it over there to 30, and this will be good starting position for Petro.
Funny that you said that. Last week when they played against Dover, they did that twice, and they recovered both of those, and they were up 30-7 at one point in time in that game, and then Dover started to come back. So they had 2 pooch kicks that they wound up recovering.
All right, here we go. Nick Petro, second possession of the ball game. He's going to fire it out to his receiver, number 2, who gets a block. Finally 35, making a move out to the 40. Still going. Finally pushed out of bounds. We'll call it the 45-yard line. So Jason Morris doing a little toe tap there across the out-of-bounds line on his home side, and it looked as if though number 11 out there on the perimeter, Troy Schneider, was having trouble with the block. Defensive back cut underneath it, Mark, but Morris able to get around it. So Morris will go in motion again, left to right, hand off to Davis, flag comes out, and he'll be stopped at the line of scrimmage.
Side judge seen some movement there, so that's going to be coming back. But I tell you, that catch that was made over there as a defensive back, you're almost afraid to hit the guy that has the ball because you're not sure if he did or he didn't step out of bounds. So the smart thing to do is just to come over and just kind of nudge him out and not get too crazy with the hit. South's walking backwards.
Not what you want to do. Up as the Wildcats, they're gonna start to pin their ears back now, and they know kind of what Petro wants to do, getting his run game going. That was really the most effective play that the Cardinals had early in their first possession. Big 11-yard pickup with him on his feet. We'll see if they go back to it. Right now, they're going to take Morris left to right again to make 3 receivers wide right. Petro going to roll right. Has Davis in front of him. Now he's going to uncork it. Petro into the sun, and coming back underneath looking for the ball, his receiver was Gillen, and out there on the coverage, number 7, Lance Long. So some could say you want a little bit of rubbing and racing going on over there as you're trying to come back for the ball. I think the right no call by the official, right?
I think so, and I think that what Lance Long did there was perfect as a defensive back. I like to see my defensive backs turning and looking for the ball like they're the receiver, and that's exactly what he did there. Had that contact with him on the backside. Great job by Lance.
Petro Fires it out to Davis. Gets a block from his receiver. He's going to try and get to the original line of scrimmage, set at the 45. They'll give it to him. So 3rd and long coming up now. 4:12 on the clock here in the first quarter. 7-0 lead for the Wildcats. Cardinals driving. Beautiful night for high school football. Always a pleasure to be working alongside you, partner. Got you up here in the press box with me. Keep you nice and cozy next to the Cleveland Browns. It's a good thing.
I was just talking to the young man over here about Joe Thomas, who I'd driven this year during Hall of Fame.
A Hall of Fame driver you are indeed, partner. Single receiver to the short side right for Petro. Trips triangle to the left. That's where Petro's going to roll out. Now he's going to decide to take it himself. Makes one defender miss. Makes another one miss. And finally pushed out of bounds by number 9, Rome Cox. But I believe Petro, Mark, as it is, we are right on top of the 45-yard line. This would be the Wildcats' 45-yard line. Cardinals are going to be stopped at the 46. So 4th and 1. No punt team seems to be out there. They're going to race number 10. The Cardinals will off the field. Petro's going to come up. He's going to hand off to Chad Davis, and he falls forward for a first down.
Yeah, and that's the call that you wanted to make there. That shows the confidence that you have in your offense to make that at 4th and 1. But, TJ, going back to that South defense, there were 4 tackles that were missed there.
Ethan Fricky on to tackle. He's one of those guys, as we didn't get a chance to mention that starting lineup for this Wildcats defense. We'll get it for you after this play. Ethan Fricky.
He can play.
Been a stable for him in the middle.
Good tackle right
Another
there.
Reception for the Cardinals. That's number 30 out there on the reception. Jack Murphy. He'll get a 6-yard pickup off the reception. As we look at that defense, we talked about Fricky. Your nose will be Murray, tackle Spear. Puget's your 3-tech. Cox, Karavik, and Lewis across the second part of the defense. We'll get you your secondary after this play. Twins right, twins left. Petro turns, fakes the handoff, rolls out right, finds his receiver. And in and out of the hands of Gillen, which would have been good for a first down. And, Mark, you got to believe
that
over
sun
on that right side, that sun is just hitting in a perfect spot.
Yeah, and I talked about that at the start of the game. Not where you want to try to throw the football, but it was a great call against that defense that they had there. Fitzgibbons had the tackle before here and made a great form tackle. I talked about how they didn't tackle well. He had his head up, tackled him, saw what he was seeing, and wrapped him up. Now we'll see what the South defense does here with 3rd and 4.
Hill, Long, Fitzgibbon, and Frazier in the secondary for the Wildcats. Cardinals 3rd and 4 from the Wildcat 37-yard line. 2:33 on the clock here in the first quarter. 7-0 lead for South. Petro working against him, trying to pick it up. Boy, he's taking some shots as he bobs and weaves in there. He's going to be shy of the first down marker. Going to bring up a 3rd and short. In there on first contact, Tyler Pugh. Also, Zion Culver assisting. Number 9 coming up off the bottom, too, Rome Cox. Rome Cox is a guy who've called his name quite a few times here already in these first early possessions of the first quarter.
You know, when you talk about Nick Petro, Tiffin has offered him, but I'll tell you what, the guy that wants him maybe more than anybody else is Tom Crank, who's here this evening, wants him at Malone to play baseball.
Petro gets him to jump. They will say he didn't cross the neutral zone. That was, I believe, big number 62.
Sandy Valley fans didn't like that.
We'll check it after this play. Reception for Sandy Valley down to Jason Morris. Picks up a first down on 3rd and short.
Fitzgibbon with the tackle again there.
Looking for the big fella's number. All right, it looked like they had 52. Zayshawn Murray offsides and crossing into the neutral zone. They didn't, but nonetheless worked out in favor. That would have been the easy first down. They pick it up the hard way, and they get the pass out off of Petro's arm into Jason Morris for a first down. They'll be spotted up at the 36-yard line of the Wildcats. Rolling downhill now, $1:44 remaining in the first quarter. Davis, fake handoff. They're going to keep it with Petro, and he'll be taken down by number 1, Tyler Pugh, also number 50.
Good gang tackling there by Canton South. One of the better defensive plays they've made so far here this evening. You know, and they've got athletes on that side of the ball too, TJ. I just don't understand why they don't tackle that well.
So that'll take them back behind the chains here. Now 2nd and 14 from the 29. Under a minute to go here in the first quarter. Trips right, single receiver, short side left for Petro. Stacked behind him is Davis. He'll fake the throw. He's going to take off running now. There goes Petro. He's at the 10-yard line. Check that, 15 inside to the 14-yard line. Picks up a first down, moves the chains for the offense, and you got to love the design of that play, Mark.
Absolutely. And, TJ, I think they were running out of the pistol there with the angle that we had over here. It looked like that running back was directly behind the quarterback. That changes things for you defensively because you don't know really which way they're going to wind up going. Nick Petro can beat you with his legs, and I believe he is their leading rusher on this football team.
We'll get you some of those numbers here after this play. Petro with twins right, twins left. He'll hand off to Davis. He follows his blockers. 74 out there, Big Neary getting some movement. Yeah, I think, Mark, when we look at some of these numbers, going through your leading rusher, it has been Petro. He's averaging 9.23 yards a carry. He's ran for 277 coming into this ball game, 214 for Chad Davis. We'll see who they decide to go with here now. As we head to the second quarter, they will be faced with a 2nd and 9 from the 13-yard line of the Wildcats as we get ready to dial in here for second quarter action on the campus of Sandy Valley Local Schools. And Mark, what's really kind of stood out to you outside of the fumble that led to the score, that you may not have expected to see? I mean, we haven't, with the amount of points, I guess, that Canton South scores, seeing that big deep run, home run shot from Poochie Schneider. We know it's going to come eventually throughout the game, but the Cardinals so far have been effective in how they've defensed the Wildcat offense.
I like the poise of the Sandy Valley offense. I mean, they had their backs against the wall. They had to convert on 2 fourth downs that they had here. There's no shaking the confidence of this offense that they have. And I think that, again, going back to last year when we talked to Coach Gamble before the game, he made mention of the fact that when Nick Petro went down last year, they had to bring in a young quarterback. They really had to kind of lean on some other guys, learn how to run the football, and they've done that. And I think that's really helping them out this year.
So we will see if Petro can answer and get this thing squared back up. As it sits right now, starting this second quarter, Wildcats on top, 7-0. 2nd and 9 from the Wildcat 13-yard line ahead here for Petro. He's got Gilland and Murphy out to the right. He's going to take it himself now, climbs inside of the 10, down to the 8-yard line. So a nice big chunk pickup. And we just talked about those Petro numbers. That's right in line. When you're getting 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 yards a carry, it shows not only how strong you are as a runner, but how smart you are as a quarterback to see. You've got great wide receivers out here. Those lanes are going to kind of create themselves. He's got to press it as much as a running back actually does.
Oh, there was a huge gap that was in that offensive line, too. There was a whole lot of daylight that he had. I was surprised he didn't take it to the house.
We'll see what Petro has here on 3rd and 3. From the 8-yard line, he'll fake the handoff to Davis. He's going to roll out to the right. Ball's going to be incomplete. Check that roll out to the left, reverse rollout. So they seem to do a lot of different action, as you kind of talked about that pistol look, Mark, trying to force the Wildcats to guess, are you going here to Davis? Yeah, and they seem through the first quarter to be pretty balanced with that when they've decided to give it as comparing to rolling Petro out.
Yeah, and I love running out of the pistol because of that. It's a modified power eye to me to some extent.
4th down. 4 to go. Petro, he'll have twins right, twins left. Davis again stacked behind him. 11:15 on the clock here in the first quarter, and they'll blow that one dead. Timeout on the field. Sandy Valley. So Coach Brian Gamble wants to kind of think that over and go again. You think, Mark, at a 4th and 4 range, you don't have any room to kind of screw this thing up here. You've gotten yourself in a position to be in striking distance and get this thing squared back up. Something clearly he saw from the South defense that made him want to call that timeout.
Well, I'll tell you, this is huge. I mean, obviously it's 4th and 4, and this would be their 3rd, 4th down that they would convert on. And I think that they were really trying to get South to jump off sides, and they didn't get that opportunity. So good that he called that timeout there. It'll be interesting to see what they wind up doing here. I mean, they could easily kick this. And talking to Coach Gamble before the game with their young – I shouldn't say their young kicker. He's a senior. He said that he's comfortable with him from probably 35 yards and in.
So we will see, partner, what they decide to break the huddle with. And if I know Coach Gamble, between him, his dad, and the Thomases, something creative has to be flowing through those headsets right now.
Yeah, and they're pretty much right in the middle of the field, too, so they can, if they want to roll one way or the other, I don't think it's going to hurt them all that much.
Gillen Greer to the right.
Oh.
Petro looking. Ball will be batted down.
That was a touchdown, TJ.
And number 50 in there. Mark, I'm going to check your roster right here. They have not listed us as a number 50. I'm going to dare to say, do you have a 50 over on yours there, partner?
Here we go.
Oh, we got a 50.
Landon
Okay,
Karavic.
Landon Karavic, yep. So Landon Karavic gets the pressure. And as you mentioned, Mark, without that pressure, there was a completion waiting to be happening in the end zone.
That was a ball that was dropped, and he should have caught that pass, and that should have been a touchdown. Coulda, shoulda, wouldas, though. This looks like a Canton South defense. It's a bend but don't break right now.
So Schneider will fire it out on 1st and 10 to his right, to his receiver. Pick up a yard. Backs to the end zone. Starting at the 8, they'll advance it out to the 9.
I like the idea because obviously Sandy Valley is trying to put that pressure on Pucci right now. That ball's coming out of his hand.
Power outages can happen at any time without warning and can leave your home powerless for days. Hilscher Clark has partnered with Generac to bring you the #1 selling home standby generator brand, engineered and built in the USA since 1959. With a home standby generator, your home will never lose power again. Generac generators activate automatically in the event of any power loss and restore power to your home within seconds. Don't leave your home unprotected. Trust only the best. Hilscher Clark's residential division are experts in their profession and go above and beyond to provide you with quality, efficient service at a fair price. Starting with the estimate, they keep you informed regarding status and completion of your projects. They also give you shorter arrival windows and send you email and text confirmations of your scheduled service appointment, as well as notifications when their electricians are on their way to your home. Hilscher Clark's Google reviews speak for themselves, with more than 270 reviews and 4.9 stars. And if you've just recently purchased an electric vehicle but don't want to rely on public chargers to keep your battery full, Hilscher Clark has all the juice you can handle for your home vehicle charging needs. Hilscher Clark is a certified Q Merit Solutions partner, making them market leaders in electrification and recommended by local dealerships. Visit them online at www.hilscher-clark.com. That's HILSCHER-CLARKE.com. Or stop down and see them at 519 4th Street Northwest in downtown Canton. Or contact Hilscher Clark today at 330-452-9806. That's 330-452-9806. Remember, it's your home, it's our family. Trust only the best. Hilscher Clark Electric Company. The leader in quality drivetrain components, H&H Truck Parts, is a name you can trust. Located in Valley View, Ohio at 5500 South Cloverleaf Parkway, H&H can handle all your heavy-duty truck needs. Come in and exchange your transmission, differential, or power steering gearbox. But that's not all. H&H is equipped to handle all your parts needs. Permco pumps, Muncie PTOs, Neapco U-joints, Spicer yokes, new Eaton clutches, and more. Let the professionals at H&H Truck Parts handle your transmission or differential installation in one of their 6 service bays. Specializing in drivetrain repairs, stop by and have your drive shaft balanced, flywheel resurfaced, or your clutch installed alongside the best transmissions and differentials on the road. You know why they're the best? Because H&H is Ohio's largest purchaser of Eaton Fuller parts. Need a blower or a pump? H&H distributes Paragon and Permco brands. Names you can trust with your livelihood on the road. Call H&H Truck Parts today for the leader in heavy-duty truck parts and service. Call locally at 216-642-4540. Toll free at 800-601-4540. 1540 or check them out online at hhtruckparts.com. You came to Stark Media for the best? Well, now you got it. Check out Lindsay's Pizza on 2827 Whipple Avenue Northwest inside of the Hillsdale Shopping Center. The preferred post-game pizza of the Stark Media team is open until 11 p.m., and it has all the essentials for game day. Pizza, chicken, salads, and sandwiches are just a click away at lindsayspizza.com. But you should trust the former Ohio State All-American and just call them right now at 330-477-3800. 477-3800. This is TJ Downing for Lindsay's Pizza, and I approve this message.
McNeil & Sons Tree Service serves the greater Northeast Ohio area by keeping your property clear all year round. Do you have trees that have stretched too close to your home? A rotted tree that has to go? Or perhaps even storm damage? No job is too big or small for McNeil & Sons. We specialize in large tree removal, storm damage, stump grinding, land clearing, and more. McNeil & Sons Tree Service is fully licensed and insured, so contact us today at 330-606-1126 for all your tree care needs, or visit us online at mcneiltree.com to schedule your free quote. The professionals at McNeil & Sons can inform you of your tree health and give you a risk assessment to keep your family protected. So call today, 330-606-1126. McNeil & Sons Tree Service, a company you can depend on with family you can trust.
The Fraternal Order of Eagles number 190 in Massillon wants you. Stop down to the Massillon ARE at 303 Wyrick Boulevard Northwest. And like our over 1,800 members experience daily, your Eagles membership will give you access to great food and drink specials. Having a party? Host it in our banquet facility and seat up to 400 people. When you're coming through downtown Massillon, stop by the Eagles and sign up. And for a small fee, you'll have access and be a part of a fraternity that donates over $100,000 a year to local charities. The Fraternal Order of Eagles ARE number 190 in downtown Massillon. Stop by or call us today at 330-832-7385.
At C.H. Vallis & Associates, we've been proudly serving the greater Stark County community for over 78 years. Locally owned, we cover your home, auto, business, and life insurance along with your group benefits. Our partnership with auto owners has allowed us to span not only Ohio, but throughout the entire country. Did you know that Auto Owners, an A++ rated company by AM Best and a Fortune 500 company, has ranked C.H. Vallis & Associates a top 10 insurance agency in the state of Ohio? From your basic home and auto needs to insuring some of the largest companies in America, there's a reason people choose C.H. Vallis & Associates and Auto Owners. Our dedication and passion for our clients and their coverage is part of our commitment to excellence. For all your insurance coverage needs, there's only one call to make, and that's C.H. Vallis & Associates, located at 1302 South Main Street in North Canton. Contact us at 330-494-2776 today and see the difference in customer satisfaction.
Welcome back in on the C.H. Vallis Insurance halftime show. TJ Downing, Mark Milano here on campus, the campus of Sandy Valley Local Schools, as the Cardinals tied this one up here against the Canton South Wildcats right before the half off a Nick Petro touchdown. 2 with the legs from the quarterback Nick Petro, as the battle of quarterbacks Petro and Schneider have taken place in front of us here. And what a great first half it was. Again, 14-all between Canton South Wildcats and the Sandy Valley Cardinals. And Mark Milano, you've got some numbers from the first half.
I do. Poochie Snyder was 15 for 17 for 167 yards. He carried the rock 7 times for 55 yards. Actually had more than that, but with some of the sack yardage that he had, it took away from him. Culver's got 10 carries for 31 yards. Tavon Castle has 85 yards receiving. And then on the other side, Nick Petro is 12 of 16 for 130 yards. He's also rushed it 11 times for 100 yards, and he's got 2 TDs rushing. Boy, he's looked really good here tonight. Jason Morris has 29 yards in receiving for Sandy Valley. Chad Davis has 36 yards in receiving, and he has 3 yards rushing. So, when I look at this game, really didn't see this score being 14-14 at halftime. I thought there was going to be a whole lot more points put up, but halftime, see who makes the adjustments. But two things have to happen here. South has to do a better job of tackling guys. If not, it's going to be a long night for them. And at this rate, it could be the last team that has their hands on the football.
So a couple LPL financial scoreboard updates for you. 21-12 is the lead for Fairless over Claymont. A interesting college score update for you. We do know last night, if you were out there with us on the Great Midwest Digital Network, the Walsh Cavaliers able to defeat West Liberty in their home opener, 24-21. Central Michigan on top of Eastern Michigan, 7-3. So you saw some great games up last night. 13-10 victory for Coach P.J. Fleck and the Minnesota Golden Gophers over Nebraska, if you caught that one late. Another one going on here for you, the Miami Hurricanes leading University of Miami University. The Red Hawks, 10-0. 30-9 lead for Eastern Michigan over Howard. But let's get back to some high school scores here for you. The Dukes of Marlington up over Manchester, 21-0. Central Catholic up over the Spartans of Richmond Heights, 28-0. Perry Panthers taking care of the Euclid Panthers, 35-0 at the half. Hoover all over top of Royal Imperial, the Knights, 35-0. Minerva Lions trailing 33-0 in their ball game. The Aviators in Streetsboro, Alliance Aviators in Streetsboro, knotted up at 14, just like we are here. East Canton is trailing Southern Local 30-14. 14-10 lead for Dublin Kaufman over McKinley. Austintown Fitch is leading Glen Oak 14-3. And again here, we got a 14-all ball game. We're ready to rock and roll for the second half of this ball game. So a return for the Cardinals goes between the legs of Gillen. He gets it out to his 10-yard line. It'll be tough field position starting for Petro, but we've seen him deal with worse. And again, that LPL financial scoreboard update brought to you from our good friend Mandwell Patterson. LPL Financial Leaders in Wealth Management. Contact Mandwell Patterson at 330-244-9779 or visit him at 4783 Munson Street Northwest in Canton. Again, the number to reach him is 330-244-9779. And with LPL Financial, grow your wealth. All right, 1st and 10 for Petro and company. Trips to the right, to the wide side of the field. They're going left to right on your radio dial. Empty backfield set. Different than what we saw earlier in this ball game. The officials are going to get that clock set. Get it all working right here now. We're back in action. All right, trips right, twins left, motion for Davis. He comes back in. They'll fake the jet sweep to him, and there goes Petro up the middle. He's at the 30, makes it to the 40, still cooking at the 50, and he's going to be all the way down into Wildcat territory. Nick Petro, again, shows you the wheels as he goes right through the heart of the Canton South defense, and they finally bring him down after a 60-yard gain.
Roy Frazier made a touchdown-saving tackle on that play, but I'll tell you what, he broke that container, that offensive line, and he was off to the races.
They'll officially call it a 52-yard pickup for Petro, and our first Apex Surgical injury update of the night down on the field is a Canton South Wildcat. It looks to be,
is that number 8?
A cramp. So they're going to pop him up.
That's number 2.
It's number 2 for the Wildcats.
Frazier, who made the touchdown-saving tackle.
Matean Frazier, the senior, 5'11", 182 pounds, making that tackle to save it. And Nick Petro, electric indeed. Remember, end of this ball game, Hilsher Clark, electric player of the game. I can tell you one guy's name who is in that hat for the Cardinals. We'll see who ends up tipping the scale here as we go through this second half. 11:32 on the clock here in the third quarter. TJ Downing and Mark Milano, pleasure to be rolling alongside you here for week 3 of Ohio High School football. In the heart of it all right here, Sandy Valley country, hosting the Canton South Wildcats, battle of 2-0 teams. There goes Petro. He's going to skate out to the left, makes a couple miss, picks up about 6 yards before being pushed out of bounds.
Wow, what a block that was thrown there on Fitzgibbons. He absolutely got laid out. Great job by that offensive line. Yeah, who would have thought that Nick Petro was going to have more yards rushing than he did passing? But that's where he is right now.
And, you know, a really, really good stable of receivers. I can tell you that as I've looked back here, Mark, through some of the numbers from the first half, he had completions to 7 different guys. So that shows you the trust that he has in his group. That shows you the skill set that he has with that group. That you've got, we talked about it in the open. A guy like Troy Schneider, who's a captain. Jason Morris has been all over the field tonight. Jack Murphy has caught passes. He's been a good junior who's kind of come in as a fourth or fifth guy. And then Luke Gillen. He's 6'1", 145 pounds. Was an All-Ohio receiver last year. You're talking coming on the back of the Tucci's and the Russells of the world. This was a stout team. There you go. Former number 2, Demetrius Evans. This time now it's number 2, Jason Morris. He's going to take it to the crib. From the 47-yard line on 1st and 25, a 53-yard house call for Jason Morris. As I rattled off the history of the number 2 jerseys here for the Cardinals, Demetrius Evans somewhere is smiling down upon his Cardinals.
The deuce was on the loose there. Wow.
Caught it, turned, and just made a beeline for the end zone. That's going to make it 20-14. Cardinals on top of the Wildcats ahead of this extra point attempt. Ball's back. It's up. It's good. So Cohen Mace is true, and it's 21-14. And, well, I'll tell you what, you just think through the first 3 weeks of the season, we've gotten into this talk a lot about, what is halftime, what do halftime adjustments look like? Mm-hmm. That might be something right there, because as we saw, first play from scrimmage to start the second half, it was Davis who was completely away from Petro, which we saw him kind of in that stacked shotgun eye, that pistol set that you talked about, Mark. And so now you've seen something that South has shown you, and effectively right there, 2 plays, gets into the end zone.
Yeah, it's taken South their eyes off the spot where Sandy Valley wanted them to look. Now, again, they're getting guys in space, and when Sandy Valley has receivers or running back in space, nobody's there to tackle them for Canton South. Okay, this is going to be a big drive for Canton South right now. They can ill afford to go 3 and out here.
11:01 on the clock here in the third quarter.
Remember what I said, TJ. They scored 82 points. They gave up 90 in the first 2 games that they played. That's San Diego Charger-esque there.
Return for Castle. He's going to take matters into his own hands. It gets guys out of his way and gets it all the way across the 40. So you can tell Tavon Castle wasn't happy with the way the first half ended, and he's not happy now. They're out there jawing a little bit, and you're going to get a flag thrown on the Cardinals. That's number 4, who will be flagged, Anthony Ross. Not good.
TJ, I think that might be the second personal foul call that's made, because when Sandy Valley had the ball and it was 1st and 25, that was a 15-yard penalty they had.
Coach Gamble is not happy. He just laid in to Ross, understanding that not only did they already get a good return getting it out across the 40, now you're going to give Poochie Schneider the football in Cardinal territory at Sandy Valley's 43-yard line. Not good. Coach Gamble's going to want to walk that thing off, and now he's going to sit here and try and get regrouped as the defense has to get back into action, because you've got to deal with Poochie Schneider, and now you've got to deal with Zion Culver, who's going to get the carry, go over top of right tackle, pick up 4 yards before being brought down.
And I think that's the experience that Coach Gamble has. As mad as he was right there, he dropped it and said, okay, we got to get back into this.
You have to.
Right.
What do they say? It's all about the next play, right?
Right.
It's the same as an offensive tackle giving up a sack or missing a block.
You wouldn't know how that is, though.
Well, you can ask your cousin, Rocco Milano. He saw 1 or 2 of those. Not many. 1 or 2. But you got to be able to move on. Cardinals, they're going to be benefited instead of moving on by a incomplete pass. Schneider tries to get it into the hands of number 29, Gatlin. That'll be incomplete.
That's a ball that should have been caught, too. Went right through his hands.
Jamarian Gatlin, only a freshman.
There was a little heat on that one, too.
So they've seen something out of the freshman to put him in the ball game. It doesn't work out, and that's going to bring up a 3rd down for South, trailing by a touchdown. Poochie Schneider going to fire one out to his receiver, which will be complete. on the opposite side, enough for a first down.
And I think the adjustment that South made is that they saw all the blitzes that were coming. Look how much quicker Pucci's getting the ball out of his hands. There's short routes, boom, it's there. Look for him to set something up here with a little pump fake and somebody go into the end zone.
Shout out to the Cleveland Browns, their high school football game of the week right here. It's on the campus of Sandy Valley Local Schools. We've had a good one thus far. Timeout is going to be burned by, it's like somebody. They're going to say, nope.
False start.
Going to have the flag come out. Didn't see the laundry hit the ground. They'll say false start. It'll move the South Wildcats back 5 yards.
What a nice venue this is down here. Garth Evans has done such a great job. The turf looks incredible.
Beautiful. It just pops
really
off
nice
your
scoreboard.
eyes.
Yeah.
Great job by all playing a part here. My old freshman football coach, Dave Fisher, now the superintendent. Zion Culver gets to carry. He'll go around right edge. Nothing cooking for him on first down. So we'll call it 2nd and 13 ahead as we are under 10 minutes to go here in the third quarter. 14 points for the Wildcats, 21 for your home team, Sandy Valley Cardinals. Pucci Schneider is going to be spotted up at the Cardinals' 35-yard line. See what he's able to do with it. Never out of the ball game when you got number 19 on your side. We'll see what he does. He's going to sit in the pocket. He's going to climb. Now he's going to let it go. Drops a rope into the hands of his receiver. Incomplete. Looking for Castle. Third down ahead.
That's definitely his security blanket. That's the first guy that he's going to look for, and why not? I mean, him and Castle have some chemistry together, being together for 4 years. They both are on the same page all the time. Big third down here right now, and I think this is a player, if they don't convert here, I think they go for it on 4th.
9:33 on the clock, trailing by a score. 3rd and long for Pucci Schneider. He's going to take off running. There he goes, making moves down to the 15-yard line.
How about that burst, TJ?
There, that's that 4.4 track speed you talked about. Do we know his track status? Is he? I know you're kind of our track aficionado.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Is what events he might compete in?
I don't know that he runs track.
Okay.
I think he plays baseball.
Okay. So Schneider back up. 1st and 10 from the 15 of the Cardinals. Hands off to Culver. He'll make it all the way down to the 6-yard line. Line to gain at the 5. So 2nd and 1 ahead. Tackle on the play by Schneider.
Nice job by the Wildcat front that they have to make sure that they were able to pick up that yardage they did there. But a great job by Pucci holding that in there, reading the defensive end, trying to figure out, am I going to keep it or let him take it?
They'll motion Castle, take him over from left to right. No motion, just getting him reset. Schneider gives the handoff. That's Rome Cox trying to get the edge. They'll say he does. Touchdown, Wildcats. We got a 21-20 ball game.
This is what I thought we were going to see in the first half, TJ. Maybe they just waited a half to go ahead and do this. But we talked about tackling. That was poor tackling there on Sandy Valley's part. There were 2 or 3 guys that should have had him before he'd gotten into the end zone. But when you're 225 pounds, it's not easy to bring that guy down.
Landon White on for the extra point to try and tie this thing up. And it is good. So we got a tie ball game here on the campus of Sandy Valley Local Schools. 21 all, 8:19 remaining here in the third quarter. Remember to check out our friends at C.H. Vallis and Associates, also H&H Truck Parts, LPL Financial, Lindsay's Pizza, McNeil & Sons Tree Service, and these broadcasts from Stark Media always brought to you and presented by our friends at Hilsher Clark Electric Company and the Eagles FOE 190. Also want to talk about our good friends at Cackley Insurance. They're located at 619 Portage Trail in Cuyahoga Falls. You can contact them at 330-929-6006. Home, auto, personal lines of insurance, contact Cackley Insurance.
Sandy Valley has all their cheerleaders out here from the lower grades. It's great seeing all the kids out here for this, and what a great crowd tonight.
Beautiful crowd. I don't know if it had anything to do with being the game of the week. I can tell you this much. Those locally around here knew when these two teams squared up that it was going to be electric, and it sure has provided that. You mix in Cleveland Browns game of the week, and boy, we've got a matchup that's going to come down to the wire here. A little bobble on the return for Sandy Valley. They will scoop it up and still get it to the 30, so no damage done. 1st and 10 for Petro as he gets ready to come out with his offense. His running back, Chad Davis, and the big offensive line led by Andrew Neary.
TJ, I was surprised to see what South did there because they kicked it away deep the last time and did really well with it. Now here they gave him good field position, having it on the 30-yard line.
Cross that line with Neary. Your left guard, Russell Hummel. Right guard, Jake Gilland. Right tackle, Trenton Russell. And your center, Weston Little. So the big fellas up front doing what they can for Petro on ground and through air. And a flag comes out onto the field. It's a false start on the offense, so not what you want to do. Again, that's enough to make Brian Gamble go crazy after some of the penalties he's seen here on the start of this second half. A personal foul, which benefited the Wildcats greatly, allowed them to tie this thing up. And now, instead of starting on their 30, 1st and 10, they'll be 1st and 15 from their 25. And Trips left, Twins right. Petro fires a screen pass out to his receiver. Nothing cooking.
And, TJ, we talked about adjustment. Look what South did on defense. Now they're bringing those defensive backs up. They're pressing that man-to-man coverage that's over there. Now, with that being said, Nick Petro gets somebody loose, a little shake and bake here and there. It's going to be tough covering these receivers man-to-man.
Matean Frazier on the tackle was not fooled by the screen pass. Petro is going to be faced with a 2nd and 17. He's going to roll out to his right. Davis is going to stand to protect him. Now he's going to take off running. We know Petro's dangerous doing that. Out across the 35-yard line. He'll climb to the 36 to set up a 3rd and 4.
Sandy Valley might have gotten away with a hold down here, TJ, closest to us. But the officials were right there. They didn't throw the flag. Sure, Coach Dennison's given that side judge an earful.
So the officials call time again, and he's going to have a conversation with number 2 because I can tell you, Mark, I know what that has to do with. There's some jawing going on out there. So Jason Morris is going to get a conversation from the white hat.
TJ, you were known to talk a little trash while you were down on the field.
I kept my mouth shut. I let my pads do the talking.
That's not what I was told, but you're going to have to sell that a lot harder.
I'm not as good of a salesman as I used to be. Your referee, Tom Tillman. Your umpire, Chris Schubert. Linesman, Garrett Barnhart. Line judge, Janice Wergland. And your back judge, Bryce Davis. Doing a good job keeping things dialed in here on this ball game between these fiery squads. So they're going to get that play clock fired back up. Looks like it. Waiting for it. You see the circle going. Okay, whistle's blown. Here we go. Clock rolls, game clock and play clock. And somebody's going to come in for Petro on this play. Davis is going to get the carry. Davis is still going. And he's bringing heat over on the Canton South sideline. He's going to spike the football, and he's going to get a flag for that. Oh, my. So, not what you want to see have happen if you're Coach Gamble, as he clearly is frustrated. Petro had to come out for a play. Caleb Dubner comes in, and Davis looked to be stopped at the line of scrimmage, able to bounce out to the left side along the south sideline mark and picks up the first, lowers the shoulder pad, and spikes the football.
You know, that's uncharacteristic of him, too. I mean, he's a 4-year starter for this team. You would think that he wouldn't lose his cool. I mean, it was a great run, picked up that first down because, TJ, he was bottled up back there. I don't know how he came out of that.
Coach Gamble cannot be happy with some of these penalties. 2 very costly mistakes.
2 personal foul calls. I think there's actually 3.
And this is not what you want to do, letting or giving South any extra opportunities. You know, Mark, when you see South, they're going to burn a timeout there. You can almost set your clock to it that after a ball game, you can look back on certain points outside of the turnover stuff, right? So right now we're even on the turnover margin. Now you start to look at some of those penalties. That'll kind of give you a telltale sign of if you lost the game and it's a close game, circle those plays.
Well, we've always said there's 3 plays that will dictate the outcome of a game. Sometimes those plays aren't necessarily a catch and a throw or an interception. It's these penalties, and they have to watch it because, like I said, another personal foul, depending on who it's against, they get ejected. They don't get to play next week either.
Don't want to have that happen. Up next for Sandy Valley is going to be Minerva. They might be able to survive that. No, sorry. I don't think it's too early or too late for that. That's a known fact. Canton South's going to have Orville next week. Still a lot of ball game left to be played here, though. .650 on the clock in the third quarter. 21 all ball game between Canton South and Sandy Valley. Ball goes off the foot of the punter and gets a Sandy Valley bounce, which will go back to Canton South's 31.5-yard line.
TJ, I think that's the only second punt of the night that we've seen.
Yeah, you're right. Chad Davis handling your punting duties. And again, you can see he's kind of still hanging his head a little bit because he knows what he did there, what that cost his team. Yeah. Now, I'm not sure why Petro had to leave the ball game, if it was some type of equipment malfunction. We know it wasn't an injury because he had to leave for one and came back.
Yeah, unless they just wanted to talk to him about what was going on out there. But Poochie Snyder also left the game for a play, and then he came back in. So here is South getting ready to take over the football on their 32-yard line. It's 6:38 left to go in the third quarter. Tied 21 up.
All right, they'll
big
go with
hole.
Zion Culver. You're right, Mark. You see a big shot coming up being delivered by, guess who? Chad Davis, taking out some of his frustrations on the running back. And you see Zion Culver. He's limping back to the huddle, Mark. But, boy, you mentioned it. Going over that left side, there was a massive hole off a left tackle.
Yeah, and that's a cramp that he has, too. He's going to have to come out of the game. You can see it. See how ginger he is?
You see Rome Cox. I didn't think you were allowed to say that. Ginger.
If you are a ginger, you're allowed to say it.
Yep. Number 4, Zion Culver, he's going to have to come out of the ball game. So you will see Rome Cox, as I mentioned, checked in. Number 14 also is going to check into the ball game. A.J. Pearson, he's going to go into the slot to the right. No receiver, short side left, trips wide right. Cox, they'll fake it to him. Schneider's going to take it. There goes that burst that you talked about, Mark. Enough to pick up the first down for Canton South. He'll get it out, Poochie Schneider does, to his own 47-yard line, and he'll wind this thing up and get the clock rolling with 5:50 trickling down. 21 all ball game. 1st and 10 for South from the middle of the field.
Well, I tell you, when Poochie runs the ball and he plants that foot and he wants to make a cut, it's devastating. He'll break some ankles on those defensive players for Sandy Valley.
It's still interesting to me that we have just not seen that textbook bomb from Poochie Schneider. We know what he can do with his feet. We know what both these quarterbacks can do with their feet. I think I lend the well.
That's that Fred Thomas defense. Those blitzes are not allowing guys to get that deep down the field.
Just looking back at some of the numbers from the first half, Schneider with a $167 through the air, a $130 through the air for Petro. 12 of 16 for Petro, 15 of 17 for Poochie. So efficiency. You got everything all right down there?
No, we've got a Cardinal that's down there that they're trying to stretch out. So we talked about the cramps, and here they come. And, oh, boy, that's
Rome Cox going to get the
start.
handoff. You're going to have a penalty, and we'll see if we can't get the number. Looks to be number 2, Jason Morris. So another key part of this offense. Had that last big touchdown off the screen pass.
There you go. Illegal motion. TJ, I think it was the first time we could hear the officials tonight when they were making the call.
Yeah. Everybody's stepping their game up here. Week 3, Ohio high school football. Pleasure to be rolling alongside you here. Pucci sitting in the pocket comfortably. Now he's going to take off running. He gets a block from number 87, and he's going to try and make the first down marker. Line to gain at the 33. I think they'll give him the 34.
How about these two quarterbacks tonight? I mean, they are just crushing these defenses with their legs.
Nice block out on the perimeter by Luke Johnson, the junior tight end, 6'1", 210-pounder. Gave Pucci just enough room to be able to get past.
Yeah, didn't hold, which was critical.
Kind of let up at that perfect time, Mark. Handoff for Rome Cox. He's going to go over right tackle and pick up the first down.
TJ, some of those smaller guys in the secondary, one thing about 225 pounds, it doesn't get less as the night goes on.
No.
I think he's going to be a handful to try to stop. But they've lost their 1-2 punch. When Culver comes out of the game, he's more of their speed guy. Rome Cox is a load to bring down.
I'll tell you what, Rome Cox, I didn't get a chance to get him on my radar until seeing him this game, and there's a lot to be impressed by. Defensively and offensively, special teams game, kind of does it all, man. Pucci Schneider going to look for the end zone, got a receiver, touchdown, Wildcats. That was the one I was asking you about, Mark Milano, waiting to see when Pucci Schneider would dial up his textbook bomb. That one, a 30-yarder all the way across to the backside of the end zone.
Yeah, and to who else but Tavon Castle. And I'll tell you what, kind of spiked that ball down in the end zone too there. I was surprised they didn't throw a flag.
Yeah, with everything that's kind of gone on here, with some of the flags from some of the personal foul type stuff, that these officials are on high alert. Extra point attempt, the ever so crucial extra point attempt.
Yeah, I think
from
that
Landon White was good, but Mark, you saw that was a high snap that came back.
Yeah, I think that this would be a great opportunity for the officials to bring the captains together, tell them, say, hey, guys, look, we need to stop this stuff that's going on right now. You've been put on notice.
Yeah.
From here on out, it's going to be a penalty.
And you kind of saw that when the white hat grabbed Jason Morris, because it seemed like Jason was kind of at the lead of that, and then he was over here cramping up. Maybe he was trying to hide himself a little bit.
See what Brian Gamble was just talking to the official about the spike in the end zone. He said, they did that down there. Why didn't you penalize them for that? I think he's got a legitimate beef. What a great guy Brian Gamble is. Man, I'll tell you what, I could have stood down there and interviewed him for a half hour, but I said, I think TJ's battery's going to die on this, so I better shut up and let this thing go.
Listen, for Twitter, I keep it to 2 minutes and 20 seconds anyway, so you were cut off at 2 minutes and 19 seconds. It was the perfect phase out because literally you were just asking him, how do you deal with number 19?
Yeah.
What do you do? And he told you, he said, yeah, they got Pucci Schneider over there. He's like, we know that we're not going to completely stop him, but keep him in check. And they've done that for the most part of this game. And again, you think back to the big fumble in the first possession of the ball game. Yeah, you think back to some of these penalties, this could still easily be a tied ball game. Return for Sandy Valley from Morris, out across his 30, and again, he's cramping up again, Mark. You see it, that leg is locking up, and that's going to be with you for the rest of this ball game.
Yeah, you can't get away from that. I've said this 100 times. I've talked to the kids, my son especially. You have to hydrate during the course of the week. You can't be that night. Once you start cramping up, it's over.
Almost a fumble down here right in front of us by somebody walking through the bleachers. They get, you got to love the bleachers here too. How many times you go, as Petro takes off here running on 1st and 10, across the 30, out to the 35-yard line. How many times you go to a facility, a high school facility, where they have your own individual seatback chairs like this? You're used to seeing bleacher types. This is a very, very nice stadium.
Yeah, it is. The bleachers are in great shape. Love the chairback seats that they have over here. Love the crowd here this evening. And this is kind of a homecoming for me. We spent a lot of time down in Magnolia as kids.
Likewise, partner, I was down a ways a little bit over there as you cross over Waynesburg into Malvern, and there goes Petro. He might be able to run to Malvern. There he goes, hurdling all the way down into Wildcat territory. Down inside the 35-yard line, 1st and 10 for Sandy Valley, but not what you want to see. Apex surgical injury update. Nick Petro took a shot on the tail end of that play, Mark, and gingerly he is walking back to the huddle.
Tyler Pugh had Nick Petro in his sights and just absolutely whiffed. Nick Petro is one heck of a football player. I don't think he gets the credit down here that he deserves. But there's a reason that Tiffin's offered him.
Petro going to take the carry after being banged up. He'll make it back to the 35-yard line, the line of scrimmage. Make it 2nd and 10, 3:30 on the clock, trailing 28-21. Petro coming up off the ground slow, and this is not what you want to see if you're Coach Gamble.
No, he's reaching for that right ankle right now.
You lose Petro.
Whew.
And I'm not the Wizard of all, but I'll tell you what, I think you lose this ball game if you lose number 5, without a doubt, right?
Well, and that's part of the risk that you have when you start running your quarterback that much.
Handoff for Davis. He'll put a full head of steam down, and he barely gets back to the line of scrimmage. They're going to say that's a 1-yard loss. And
Boy,
now Davis is
up
banged up.
Yeah, that was a good tackle. Physical. Yeah, it's a question in the second half. Who's going to impose their will on the other team? Which defense really wants to step up?
Who's maybe a little bit deeper than the other?
Absolutely. We've seen a lot of guys cramping up here right now. We talked about that drop-off between their 1s and 2s. We're starting to see some of those 2s come into the game.
Petro still staying in there, toughing it out. Trying to get it to his All-Ohio receiver, Luke Gilland, and it'll bobble in his hands and come out, and it's incomplete. And 4th and 11 coming up with 2:16 remaining here in the third quarter. TJ Downing, Mark Milano, pleasure to be rolling alongside you here this evening. Appreciate our friends here on campus. Garth Evans always taking care of us. We'll have live video that'll be paired with this audio later this evening when you come back to watch this great ball game that's taking place here. So we appreciate him putting us in the driver's seat. All the great people here on campus. 2 great teams battling it out as Nick Petro gets away from multiple defenders. A third one, he's still running, showing his guts, and he's going to get all the way down to the 30-yard line, but it's going to be a turnover on downs because it's not going to be enough for the first.
Tackling, tackling, tackling.
But Mark, again, we just saw Nick Petro banged up, hobbling back to the huddle, and then you see him go full tilt.
That was Jim Brown-esque.
It's not a show that he's putting on. It's, hey, listen, when the ball's snapped, I'm going to put that stuff in the back of my head, and I'm going to get down to business for my boys out there.
That's a gamer.
And that is a gamer, man. You love to see those type of dudes on your side. And really a lot of what his game reminds me of, that toughness side, was what we saw from Brendan Zerbrug in week 1 when he led the Aviators to a victory over Lake, and he's going helicopter style there trying to get the first down on 4th and 3, and he does. That shows a lot to your teammates, man. And Petro's going to be down on the ground here in front of us. They're going to work him out. Luckily, it looks like it's just cramps. So they're going to bend that toe back, and we're going to see if the defense can make a stop, because the Cardinals, as we inch closer to the fourth quarter, are going to need to get the ball back and get a score because it's 28-21.
Well, I tell you, TJ, we are blessed again this year with quarterbacks in the area. These 2 down here, you mentioned Brendan Zerbrug. You get the young man over in North Canton, Carson Derlin. Quarterback that's over at Green, who's new this year.
Yeah.
I like Austin Maddox. Then you've got
Austin Maddox is a good quarterback.
DeJuan Owens over at Massillon.
Mix in Jalen Slaughter with him, 2 lefties. Year of the quarterback, I guess. Last year was the year of the lineman, right?
Well,
it's not my year anymore. I'm going to take a back seat.
I think that when you look at the offenses, everybody's gone to the spread. Nobody runs out of the eye anymore. It's just like, pretty much what you're seeing in the NFL. You have to have a great quarterback. The teams with good quarterbacks are going to win football games.
Under a minute to go here in the third quarter. 28-21 lead for the Canton South Wildcats. 3rd and 1 ahead. From their own 40-yard line, Poochie Schneider is going to take it. He'll have enough to pick it up and a little bit extra as he crosses over his 45. And you see the big guy, Max Cochran, coming up off of a pancake block. of Trent
Putting his hands up.
Russell.
Look, I didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
It's all good.
We nicknamed that last night. And Coach Gamble is yelling at the official, look what he's doing. We nicknamed that last night. That's kind of like the turtle shell, right? And you're just kind of rubbing your shell on his back there, and hands out, mitts out to show that you're not holding, but just laying 290 pounds.
That's a big shell.
Right on your back. A lot of shell there for number 77, captain for the Wildcats. Handoff, Culver. He'll be brought down from behind by Chapin Greer.
South's finding some running room in between the tackles there. And that Sandy Valley defense could start to get, looks like they're fatiguing a little bit.
And that'll be enough for the Wildcats here in the third quarter, as they will let time expire and get set for a 2nd and 4 as we start the fourth quarter. Mark Milano, 4 fingers in the air, partner. We are heading to 4 high school football here at Stark Media, presented by Hilscher Clark Electric Company and the Eagles FOE 190. Make sure to check out our good friends at Hilscher Clark Electric Company at 519 4th Street Northwest in downtown Canton. Call them at 330-879-8738 or check them out at hilscher-clark.com. They've extended the opportunity to get the $1,000 free back 10-year warranty for purchasing that Generac home generator. Don't go without power in case of a power loss, and know that we will have power losses around here in Stark County and Northeast Ohio. So protect your home with a Generac generator and contact our friends at Hilscher Clark, 879-8738. They are honoring a free 10-year warranty worth up to $1,000 value. So contact them for the leader in home standby units, your official installer and retail seller of that unit, Hilscher Clark Electric Company. All right, 12 minutes have been put onto the clock. Poochie Schneider is smack dab right in front of us, partner, ready to drive downhill on a 2nd and 4, 2nd and 3 we'll call it, from the Cardinal 47. Touchdown shot to Ethan Fricky. Check that out, Ethan Fricky. That's number 22 streaking down the side. That's Trey Wilson. And that right there, partner, could blow this thing wide open. What a shot to start the fourth quarter by Poochie Schneider. Found going down the seam, number 22, Trey Wilson, and there was nobody within 5 yards behind him. You're a pony, man. We'll call that. He had him by at least 3 stride lengths.
Let me give Poochie a dime after this one because he dropped that one right in there perfectly.
Wow.
In stride.
So that's going to make it 34-21. Wildcats on top of the Cardinals, and Nick Petro and company are going to have to get back to work quick. Not a chance to take a breath or hang your head or start to feel sorry for yourselves, trailing by 14. Still a lot of football left to be played here in front of your home crowd on a beautiful night. Got to get a drive put together, though, if you're Petro, Davis, and company.
You know, and they can beat them a lot of different ways. We've seen the South defense give up a lot of chunk yardage that's out there. I don't think Sandy Valley has to get into any type of panic mode. They're getting big yardage off of runs and passes. But they're going to need to get a nice return here. We'll see if South decides to kick this one deep.
Poochie Schneider getting it done for South. Back-to-back big touchdown passes when we saw exclusively in the first half. It was mostly on the ground for both of these squads. The air attack, as the lights have firmly come on and lit up this stadium, the air attack is on, and it's mostly all been South. So we'll see if Petro and his crew are able to answer it. Here's a guy he needs to get into the deal, Luke Gillen. He's making moves. He's at the 30, out of bounds at the 32.
I do have Poochie Schneider in my fantasy league. I've got huge points tonight. You know, and both these quarterbacks have worked so hard to get to where they are right now. They've got trainers that they work with, quarterback coaches that they have. Really love the football game, and it shows here.
Petro's going to have trips over to his right. Single receiver to the short side left. He's going to roll out to the right. Davis behind him. Now he's going to pull up and take off running. and making a miss, making a handful of them, just tucking that ball and churning out with 4 guys on his back. Fricky wants to say that he was able to strip him. The officials are going to say that Petro was down after he crossed the 50 into Wildcat territory, down at the 48-yard line. Another injured player down. That's Landon Karavik back at the 32-yard line, around the spot of the original line of scrimmage. And Mark, the heart of Petro, as he ran right through the heart of the defense. He knows when he rolls right and he doesn't see the receiver open that he's going to pull it and take it, and he knows that there's guys converging on him. Still, that burst, that toughness, because it's not the same type of burst as Poochie's, but there's a toughness factor there, and just maybe you want to call it a wiggle of the hips, but he just moves so fluid and smooth that 2-3 guys is what it's taken to bring him down.
He was carrying guys with him. There's something about, when you have the ball in your hands like that, all of a sudden the pain and the cramps, everything kind of goes away.
Yeah.
But, he's showing a really gutty performance out here right now. I didn't think that he was going to wind up taking off there. And if you lock him up and you make him sit back there and have to throw the football, not that he can't do that, that really takes a lot of things away from that Sandy Valley offense. Boy, South can ill afford to lose Karavik.
No, big part of that defense alongside Ethan Fricky, who we mentioned at the end of that last play there, was hoping that he was going to be awarded the strip of Petro, but Petro was already down, so now he's going to be spotted up in Wildcat territory. See what he's able to do with it. He's looking downfield. He's going to fire one down the middle. He's got his receiver. There's Jason Morris. Down to the 20-yard line. Will stop him shy at the 21, and that's that kind of full play right there where you kind of fake that screen out to Chad Davis on the right-hand side, catch him wide open in the middle of the field, Mark.
Oh, Lance Long made a good tackle there. If he doesn't make that tackle, that's a touchdown.
Morris was trying to work his way past them. They're going to go back to the same formation, flop it to the left instead of the right. 10:42 remaining in the ball game, trailing by 14. Sandy Valley looking to chew into this deficit. Petro puts the ball on the ground, trying to make something happen. For somebody that just dropped the ball as a quarterback in the pocket to still pick up that type of yardage, it goes to show you, again, Mark, we talked about some of the inefficiencies of the defense for Canton South. They've struggled to tackle, and you can see it all night. Not to say it's just whether it's poor tackling or Petro's that great of a player. I think it's a little bit of both.
It is. I would agree with that.
2nd and 4. Petro, handoff, Davis. He'll be met at the line of scrimmage. Fall forward to not lose any yards.
And TJ, last week when South was playing against Dover, kind of the same thing was happening, and they needed to come up with a stop. We'll see if they can do that here again. But they were able to hold Dover out in the end and outlast those guys because, again, you had to score 90 points in 2 games to win both of those.
35-21 here. Canton South on top. Inside the H&H Truck Parts red zone are the Cardinals. We'll see what Petro can do with it. Climbs the pocket. Now he's going to take off running. See what you get. 5, makes a move, falls forward, and it'll stop him shy at the 2-yard line. But that's enough for a first down, and it'll be goal to go from the 2. So Petro's got his crew in the driver's seat, moving downhill, still trailing by 2 scores. Would be nice to have one here as we hit the 9-minute mark.
South just loses contain on that outside, and he took it out there. Tyler Pugh was back in the backfield again, couldn't get to him.
Handoff Davis, he plows forward. Touchdown, Cardinals.
And he didn't spike the football, so
Chad
there's no
Davis,
penalty.
hand the ball to the official. I like it. Jim Trussell-esque right there. Heard that quite a few times throughout my career, although it wasn't me handing the ball to the official. And that's Coach Gamble having a nice conversation with Petro, letting him know, hey, man, good guts, good moxie, way to lead the offense. But the bigger conversation should be what you just said there. Hey, good job handing the ball to the official, Chad Davis. Coach Tressel, as we see Cohen Mace on for the extra point. Oh, and it's blocked. So now If all holds correct for the Cardinals, as the score sits 35-27, if they get the stop they're looking for and a score, they will have to go for 2 to tie it up. But, yeah, the wise man, the wise coach, Jim Tressel, once said, Mark, that doesn't matter what it is. After every play, if you are the person that possesses the ball, you hand it to the official. That way, not only are you eliminating getting any flag for anything stupid, but you are eliminating them questioning who actually has the football and possesses it. So if you give it to them, if you hand it to them, it's a kind gesture, so to say, right? They control the game. It's their football anyways, but it's just it's a smart thing to do. You know, spiking the football and costing your team 15 yards is the wrong thing to do.
Yeah, you don't need to waste that energy in that process either.
And look what you're doing to poor coach down there on the sideline. Got him screaming and yelling, got his heart racing, you know. You have to go home to his beautiful wife, Vera, and have to tell her, listen, Chad spiked the ball again. You know, this is why my hair's falling out.
Teenagers will do that to you. You'll find out shortly, TJ.
I got a 5-year-old that's already doing it to me, partner. Oh, man. All right, so we'll reset here for you. 35-27, Canton South on top with 8:52 remaining here in the fourth quarter as the Wildcats look to get the ball back. Trey Wilson will return it out across the 20. Diving attempt by Morris, no good. And
nice return.
Wilson, again, as Mark said, nice return out across the 25. Good starting field position.
You know, and he made a better decision with the ball that came to him because remember in the first half when that came over there, he kind of stepped out of bounds on, the 5 or the 6 yard line. This time he said, hey, you know what? I'm taking matters into my own hand. I'm going to attack the ball, pick it up, and take off with it. Did a nice job. You know, it's starting out, the 27-yard line with 8:44 left here. You got to wonder how many more possessions you're going to wind up getting in a football game.
That is correct, and we'll see. As we know, Zion Culver has had some cramping issues tonight. He's going to get the handoff here. He'll pick up 4 yards on first down. So, yes, you want to get that clock rolling. I don't believe, if I remember correctly, South is the only one that's burned a timeout here in this second half. So all 3 should still be in the back pocket for Coach Brian Gamble.
You think the pickle juice is out there on the sidelines right now?
Maybe a little honey brown mustard. Tell you what, I was talking with somebody about that the other night. Greatest scene ever. Milano Golden Eagles inside of Paul Brown Tiger Stadium. White jerseys, squirting mustard through the face mask of my defense and offensive linemen as they're just laying there like pigs. Mustard all over them. Zion Culver following the big piggies up front, going over left tackle as they pick up a first down. So Zion Culver, he's got a little bit of mustard on the sideline. He's not cramping up, and he's feeling good running for a first down and pushing the ball out to the Wildcat 43.
Yeah, it's amazing. You got to get that salt in your body, and that's why, you have Gatorade, but you can't do too much Gatorade. There's so much sugar that's in that. I like to see the guys maybe have a bottle of that and then water for the rest of the night.
Poochie Schneider, 1st and 10 from his own 43. Another handoff to Culver, and again, another Woody Hayes type, 5 yards in a cloud of dust. And you'll be happy with that, Mark, because as you mentioned, the key thing, how many possessions are you really going to look at here with half of the fourth quarter already in the books?
Playing a little keep away right now. And why put the ball up in the air and have an incompletion or an interception? Poochie doesn't throw many of those things, but right now, they're just running the ball right down Sandy Valley's throat.
So somebody's going to have to step up across that defensive line, that defensive front, that box, so to say, for the Cardinals. They bring some pressure here. They get to Poochie Schneider, and that's what the doctor ordered as we see number 3 come up off the bottom of the pile. Back there on that tackle was Luke Williams. Some knifing in there, dialing up what we knew from Coach Thomas was going to be throwing the kitchen sink at him.
Yeah, now let's watch the 35-second clock. How many seconds come off this before they snap the ball? They should be in no hurry to snap this football right now.
A great quarterback will always know what he's doing in that regard.
Mm-hmm. Ten seconds left on the clock.
He continues to let it trickle down, snaps it with 5 seconds on there. Smart move. Passes. Oh, it's complete, and then incomplete. Chad Davis breaks it up. Looked like Tyler Pugh was going to be able to snag it. He did, and then it gets dislodged again, and Tyler Pugh, Apex Surgical Injury Update, is down on the ground.
Yeah, he took a shot to the head there. I'll tell you, I think the officials were looking. They may try to throw flags in those situations. They're really trying to protect defenseless players there, and he was defenseless in that situation. And it's great to see the Sandy Valley Cardinals, everybody taking a knee while somebody's down over there. See if we can pick up some scores here for us since we got a break in the action. The Blue Streaks are tied up with Brecksville 14-14.
Where's that game being played at, Mark? I believe that's at Lake, right?
I believe that is at Lake. Yeah, Mansfield's losing 51-10 to Massillon.
The battle of the Twigers? Yeah. Twigers and Tigers?
Fitch is up 28-3 over your Golden Eagles.
You were supposed to skip that one.
Alliance is struggling with Streetsboro. They're losing 37-28 right now. Fairless is up 35-33 over Claymont. If they win that football game, Sarbaugh is going to be the all-time winningest coach in Fairless.
How about that? Good job. Congrats to A.J. Sarbaugh, what he's been able to accomplish over there. You know that he's closing in a winning season. A winning season this year, going 6-4, will equal the best 4-year run of any Fairless football team.
There's a big one. McKinley's up 17-14 over Dublin Kaufman.
Word on the street is Nino Hill suspended for this evening.
Ooh.
Also, another young man.
Look at you with the inside info.
You know, I try sometimes.
Northwest is up 20-14 over Louisville, and here we're going to get back into the action now.
Also, Dante McClellan suspended for the first half. So a punt from Poochie Schneider is an absolute missile. That's going to go out of bounds at the 1-yard line. Unbelievable.
Wow.
That might be the best play from Poochie Schneider all night. There's been some great plays from Poochie Schneider.
I wonder if he can hit a lob wedge like that.
But that is going to create some problems for Nick Petro and his offense. Regardless, you've got the opportunity to go 99 and try and get yourself back into this ball game. 6 minutes and 4 seconds remain here in the fourth quarter. But what a punt for Poochie Schneider. You know, they used to say downing one inside the 20 gets you a helmet sticker. Downing it inside the 10 gets you 2. Downing it at the 1. Not only is he going to be offensive player of the game, he will be special teams player of the game as well.
Ray Guy was smiling after that punt.
Oh, he was. And you drove him, correct?
I did. He gave me some great pointers on being a punter.
So Petro from the back of his end zone. Oh, boy. He's uncorking one to Gillen. Oh, Luke Gillen. As Petro's foot couldn't have been an inch from the back of the end zone line, he uncorks a 52-yard monster.
And the official got taken out in the play, too. Wow.
You add in the back of the end zone, we'll call it a 62-yarder, but from goal line to 48-yard line of the Wildcats is now where the Cardinals are set up shop. 1st and 10 with 5:38 remaining in this ball game. Nick Petro showing his stuff. He's looking for somebody open. He's going to be chased by
Karavik takes him down. He's back in the game.
Karavik's back in the deal, and Petro's going to be tackled over on the sideline, and wisely, Canton South, they're pulling Karavik back. They're pulling all their players back. Get away from the quarterback that's tackled on our sideline. We don't need any of that funny stuff, giving them any extra opportunities, because that's exactly what would benefit them. But now they'll be faced with a 2nd and 19.
This is a great rivalry between these two teams. You only have to make 2 turns to get to the school. One on 800 to get there, the other to turn into their parking lot. These two schools do not like each other.
What an effort by both of these teams tonight. They have both shown out and shown up.
You know, you keep wanting to count one of these
Gamble's
teams
gonna
out.
Burn a timeout.
Yeah, but, you know, Sandy Valley's down there on their 1-yard line. What do? They step back and they throw a 50-yard bomb. And, I mean, you have to be so careful when you're back there, because if you get called for a hold and he's in the end zone, now you got a safety. Great performance. This is by far and away, TJ, the best game that we've had this season. And Mike Popovich is flying over here when he's typing away.
And I think back, I mean, really the opener that we got a chance to see, the Friday night opener between Lake and Alliance, was a great football game. It wasn't high scoring like this, but I think if you love defense, if you love just seeing players make plays at the right time of a game like we saw from Brendan Zerbrug, then you're going to enjoy that one. But this one right here has it all for you. It's got the toughness, it's got the guts, the courage, the defense, the offense. All of it has kind of come into play. And now, because of Poochie Schneider, it's now a special teams ball game as well. But Nick Petro showing his courage and what he's got as a senior quarterback, fighting through it, leading his team down the field. But now he's got another tough one in front of him here.
Yeah, they don't have to pick all this up on this play. I mean, 2nd and 19, they pick up 10 yards. 3rd and 10's manageable.
Petro's going to roll out to the right, try and make something happen, try and avoid a shot over on the sideline. He does. He'll go out of bounds, pick up, and we'll call it a 6-yard pick. And now it's going to set up a 3rd and 14.
Boy, big number 67, Brendan Wakefield. He's breathing hard down there. He was trying to chase down Nick Petro. He said, "Who stole the air?"
Good luck with that. Good luck with both of these quarterbacks. What a beautiful, what do they call that, Mark? Is that the super blood moon or
the blue moon?
Yeah. Looks a little orange from here, but I'll take it either way.
It's almost a full moon too.
Maybe a blue moon after the game. We'll see what happens. 4:32 to the victors go the spoils. Petro firing it down the middle of the field over the outstretched hands of Luke Gillen.
Boy, he took a pop. Nick Petro did. He's like Timex.
Yeah,
he just keeps on ticking.
He's waiting a little bit here as Chad Davis came to help him up, and you can tell Petro is just not feeling good down there on the field.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know that it's a cramp. He's not moving the same way it would be a cramp.
It was originally, from what I saw down here when they were flexing his toe back, but that's a whole different deal right there, because you said he just took a serious shot, and it's a shot like that that says, you know what, I think it's maybe through that thigh board, that left thigh board, maybe the ankle as well. Looks like he spatted on the left ankle. Punt for the Cardinals is going to be a good one here. Not as good as Poochie Schneider's, but only 5 yards away, as this one's going to be down at the 6 compared to the 1. So South will have to start from their own 6. As you can see Petro down there, Mark, I mean, kind of diagnose that. I mean, he's working on the left lower leg. You're right. That's not really I don't think that's a cramping issue. Could be. They're kind of pushing back on the toes a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But, boy, he's taking some shots.
He has, and he's worked so hard out there.
You know, one thing I hear from our good friend Rod Strata, former All-Big Ten lineman at Michigan State, kind of just said, you know, listen, a guy like Lucas Eckerman over there at Jackson, yeah, he can run. He's only a sophomore, but there's only so many of those shots you're going to want to take before they're going to start to add up on you.
That's why you don't like your quarterback running the ball a lot. But when you're on the sideline, you need to make sure that you get out of bounds before somebody can get a real good shot in on you.
So 4 minutes remaining here in this ball game. TJ Downing, Mark Milano, been a pleasure rocking with you here on third week. Call it third rock for you.
Max Cochran getting up a little slow there. Looks like he's cramping up a little bit too.
Third week of Ohio high school football has not disappointed here on the campus of Sandy Valley Schools. 35-27 lead for the Wildcats. 2nd and 2 coming up for them for their own 15-yard line. Culver goes up the middle for a first down, and ooh, look at big number 77. You saw him now. This offensive line, 72, 77, they're down there 15 yards
Road
down.
graders, yeah.
And they're finishing guys. That's kind of that key word we talk about, Mark, finishing, and 72 and 77 just got it done there.
I mean, Sandy Valley is going to have to devote more guys to the middle of the field right now, and if they do that, don't be surprised to see Poochie audible and take somebody, you know, one-on-one down the sideline for another TD.
Those are the type of keys to an offense that you give a quarterback like Poochie Schneider. He doesn't this time because they are going to be happy with just letting this clock run. But you're right, Mark. You get into what now? You're going to see Coach Gamble burn a timeout.
Smart. That's a good timeout for two reasons. One, it stops the clock. Secondly, you get your defense set and give these guys a break or a breather because they're tired. You see guys come in and they're walking with their hands on their hips. Those young men down there carrying those water bottles are as important as anybody on the field tonight.
Yes, they are. Shout out to all of our sponsors here at Stark Media. It starts with our good partners at Eagles FOE 190 in downtown Massillon and Hilscher Clark Electric Company. Make sure to check out Eagles190.com and check out all that they do for not only the Jimmy Kiefer Scholarship Fund, but for giving and charitable contributions all throughout Stark County and Northeast Ohio. Just a great group of people giving over $100,000 a year to local charities. The Eagles FOE 190 at 303 Wyrick Boulevard in downtown Massillon. You can call them at 330-833-8444. Check them out online again at eagles190.com. Go down there and sign up for a membership. And for only $24 a year, you can be a member and enjoy food, drink, and banquet event specials. Check out their banquet facility. Looking to host up to 400 people for your party? Contact the Eagles FOE 190, 833-8444. Don't forget about our good friends at Hilscher Clark Electric Company. We'll have our electric player of the game coming up here at the finale. Pucci getting around the corner. Smart quarterback slides down while he's in bounds and keeps that clock rolling as it hits the 2:45 mark. That's heady. Yes, it is. Gotta love a quarterback who's always thinking on his feet, but now getting onto his butt because the last thing you want to do is stop that clock. We know that Coach Brian Gamble's already having to chew through some of his timeouts, only trailing by 8 points, but got to find a way to get a stop here. Third down. This is your money down, but it's third and short, Mark. So we'll see what Coach Thomas on the defensive side dials up. They're going to bring heat off the edge. 71 missed, and so Zion Culver, ball's on the ground. Oh, and look at the big lineman downfield, scooping it up.
Wow,
give that young man
that could have been
credit.
A huge play there.
How about that? A lineman's dream for Jason Clark. The senior 6 foot, 245-pound lineman doing what they teach us. That's one of those things in practice, Mark, where we're just like, why are we doing this? Well, it might happen one time. You run down there, and when that ball pops out, they teach you how to kind of curl your body around it because we're not really used to grabbing footballs and running around with them,
You were that agile, though.
I would have tried to reach down and pick it up and go for a touchdown. I don't know if my speed burst would have been enough. But no, very wide. I mean, that might be the play of the game right there for the Wildcats, because if the Cardinals would have got it back, they would have been in Wildcat territory. No damage done as we hit the 130 mark. That was a 1st and 10. So now clock winds, it rolls, and Coach Brian Gamble has to burn another timeout. So I believe, if I'm doing my math correctly, Mark, as you mentioned earlier in the first half, no indication on the scoreboard of how many timeouts remain. I know that's 2 right there that Gamble has burned. I don't believe I remember him burning another one, but he may still have 1 left available. A lot of the Sandy Valley faithful, they're starting to walk out already. $1:31 remaining in the game.
Hey, nothing to hang your heads about this game. I think that Sandy Valley played really well. Much closer game than what I anticipated that it was going to wind up being. And both teams are going to come away from this, and they're going to make some adjustments. I think they're going to be tough outs as the season continues to go on here. But, South, think about this last year. It was the first league title that they had in probably 40 years. 5-way tie.
Wow.
For the Pack.
Carry, tackle for loss, as Sandy Valley will keep the Wildcats on their side of the field at their 49-yard line. They're going to bring up a 3rd down. So 1:18 remains in the ball game. Shout out to our good friends at Cackley Insurance, located at 619 Portage Trail in Cuyahoga Falls. Contact them at 330-929-6006 for home, auto, and personal lines of insurance. Also our good friends at LPL Financial, who bring us our scoreboard throughout the evenings. Wealth management leaders, contact Mandwell Patterson at 330-244-9779 or visit him at 4783 Munson Street Northwest in Canton. Again, the number to reach Manuel Patterson is 330-244-9779. Or for your personal line of insurance, contact Jason Cackley at 330-929-6006. All right, last time out is officially burned, and that will bring a stop with 43 seconds remaining in this ball game. 35-27 lead for the Wildcats. Mark, I think it's safe to say that our Hilscher Clark Electric player of the game will be Poochie Schneider. Yes, it will. So at the conclusion of this game, Mark and myself, we're going to sign off, and we're going to go down and we're going to do our post-game show from the field. We'll get a chance to catch up with the star quarterback for the Wildcats. But again, still time left here. We'll see what the Cardinals are able to come up with. Football game is never over. Mark, remind me, the last time we were down here, that was Sandy Valley and East Canton?
Yes. Yeah, it was.
Is that right?
Right. East Canton had a good team that year, too.
Yeah, they did. Had the Vacco boy and Cody Vacco. And Spider Miller told me, he goes, you can't have enough Vaccos on your team.
Boy, Spider does a nice job over there. I think they're struggling a bit this year. They didn't have a whole lot of numbers of kids going out. But, you know, when you look at the facilities that they have there, they've got a new high school. I think there's an indoor facility that they're building.
Yeah, the Foltz Fieldhouse. That's a big deal over there right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good place to be.
Let me tell you another thing that's kind of a big deal around here. We're going to have more information coming for you down the line. Check out our social media sites at Stark Media Team on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. But what Sandy Valley and the Magnolia Historical Society, what these two entities are doing to get behind one of the greats, the all-time greats, Vince Costello, who was a legend for the OU Bobcats and the Cleveland Browns, and starred here at Sandy Valley. Poochie Schneider is going to be brought down. Ball's on the ground. I think that was an inadvertent whistle. That man was not down yet, and the white hat blew the whistle. Now, the only thing I can think of, Mark, not to cut myself off from there, but geez, Bryant Gamble's frustrated. The white hat, I think, saw Poochie Schneider's knee starting to bend back into a position that could have been very dangerous. And I think he blew the whistle to kind of call the dogs off. But do you feel that it was maybe a little bit inadvertent, that the play was still going on, and that strip could have been Cardinal football?
Yeah, I don't think I would have blown the whistle there. But, again, they're going to run the clock off, so this is over. But
that's going to bring an end to this ball game.
Yeah.
Triple zeros have hit the clock. 35-27 victory for the Canton South Wildcats over the Sandy Valley Cardinals. And again, we'll get you more on what Vince Costello, what they are doing for Vince Costello locally here to build a statue in his honor. There'll be lithograms up by the fire department. There'll be a bronze statue being built. And Stark Media Team is going to be an official partner of the Historical Society to help get this project funded and done. So we'll have more for that coming up here. Shout out again to everybody here on campus at Sandy Valley. Dave Fisher, Garth Evans, Allison Morris. Appreciate you guys always. Stark Media Team loves being here in the house. For my partner, Mark Milano, I'm TJ Downing signing off as we say good night here on week 3 of Ohio High School football. Shout out to all the fans who came out here and created a phenomenal atmosphere for two great football teams. Again, 35 for the Canton South Wildcats and 27 for the Sandy Valley Cardinals. That's all for us here, folks, tonight. Signing off again for Mark Milano, TJ Downing. Have a great rest of your weekend, everyone.